Good evening, everyone. Namaskar. I, Pragya Lal, welcome you all to today's edition of BI Lead series. Bureaucrats India Lead is a series of programs on higher education, showcasing India's unique capabilities in providing world-class education across diverse fields, from engineering and management to biotechnology, humanities, law, medicine, and sciences. Our higher education space is among the most vibrant, with sterling contributions from both private and public institutions, imparting world class education and training to millions of students. Today, we have with us Professor Sanket Goel, Dean Sponsored Research and Consulting across campuses of BITS Pilani. He has a distinguished career, an alumnus of Delhi University and IIT Delhi, and he did his PhD from University of Alberta, Canada. Now, I request our Editor-in-Chief, Dr. Navneet Anand, to carry forward the conversation with Dr. Goel.
Thank you, Pragya, my colleague, for giving that introduction. Hello, namaskar, good evening, Jai Hind. मेरा नाम नवनीत है और आज आप ब्यूरोक्रेट्स इंडिया के इस विशेष कार्यक्रम में शामिल हैं। आज हमारे साथ प्रोफेसर संकेत गोयल हैं जो बिट्स पिलानी हैदराबाद कैंपस में हैं और इस सीरीज़ के बारे में जैसा कि मेरी कुलीग ने बताया, एक स्पेशल सीरीज़ है जो एजुकेशन सेक्टर में जो लीडर्स हैं और जो लीडिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उनको हाईलाइट करने के लिए एक हमारा प्रयास है। ब्यूरोक्रेट्स इंडिया इज़ अ leading platform highlighting stories of good governance from across countries. We have primarily been focused on good governance, covering government, PSUs, corporate, and this is a special series we started by focusing on the educational institutions. It's called Bureaucrats India Lead. LEAD stands for Leaders in Education and Academic Development. So we'll begin without much ado. Dr. Goel, thank you very much for taking time out to be talking to us. It is all yours. Now, we have all read, heard, seen about BITS and its legacy, but there are many who'd be keen to know what is BITS doing in terms of, keeping pace with the changing scenarios. So this short dialogue is aimed to learn from you about the new strides being made by BITS, what are the new things being done, the future goals, your campuses, your own. You have a distinguished career. You hold 35 patents. Now, that's incredible. Congratulations for that. So this conversation is designed to basically seek out the best from you about yourself as well as your institution. Over to you, Dr. Goel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Dr. Anand, for giving this opportunity. We have been talking about it for quite some time to connect, and finally we are meeting. I'm so happy to connect with you today. So I think I will talk about my own organization. That's better because I'm just one part of it, and there are many Sanket Goels in BITS Pilani, believe me. So, so actually, I joined BITS Pilani around 9 years plus ago. 10 years going to happen early next year. And I joined Hyderabad campus Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department. And for last 2 years plus, I am holding the position of Dean of Research and Innovation across campuses of BITS Pilani. So as you can see that we don't just call it research, we call it innovation, which is a ducktail to research. So we believe that in any academic institutions, and more so in a higher education academic institution, there are multiple pillars and everybody has to work on those pillars. Of course, teaching is the backbone. That is something our bread and butter, and that is our first responsibility to the society and public at large. But beyond that, I would say that research, innovation, entrepreneurship, these three pillars are the integral part of any academic institute when we talk about in the current scenario. So BITS has many unique aspects to it. Of course, when we grew since our high school days and class 12th, I was from a very small village in Mathura, Uttar Pradesh. So we were in Uttar Pradesh board. So BITS was certainly one of the top choices when anybody wanted to seek their career opportunities in engineering domain. So 1964 is the one when BITS evolved as a deemed to be university. And one of the top thing which nobody has done in India at that time is we started our curriculum in collaboration with the MIT. In fact, many of the MIT professors, they visited BITS Pilani for several number of years. And then we we evolved as a teaching institute. So essentially, in the first 3-4 decades, BITS has been known as the top leading teaching institute, where we produce many renowned teachers. Student teacher intact were still there, and believe me, right now we have around 200,000, 2 lakh alumni across the world, which includes a significant part of the alumni from a work integrated learning program that has been our unique model since our inception, or I would say a couple of years later down the road. So that much alumni bench strength which we have as of today. And since its inception, one of the major part which we have played a huge role is to develop entrepreneurship acumen. So currently we have around 7,500 to be exact. These many people who are in a CXO role across many companies across the world, which is a huge number. Currently, BITS alumni and our own ecosystem people are having 15 unicorns. They have developed 15 unicorns. And out of 100 plus unicorns in India, 15 are held by the BITSians one way or the other. And the famous Sugi has also been our alumni. So the point here is that except teaching, research, innovation, one of the top thing which BITS has produced is many entrepreneurs, and which of course really demarcate us across our peers. The two things which I would like to mention at this stage is one important thing is the PS, the practice school. Which is in a way you can say that is like another incarnation of our incubation, or I would say the people who go for project in the final semester. So we call it practice school. So every student, when he or she joins BITS Pilani system, they have to undergo an 8-month rigorous industrial internship, which we call it as a practice school. So 2 months between second and third year, and the whole semester, one of the semesters of last year, which is another unique point. So essentially, any student who joins under the BITS Pilani umbrella, they always undergo 8 months of rigorous industry training, and which helps us, or helps them rather, to engage themselves as an industrial folk after completing their graduation. So just to give you another number, around 1,200 people, students, they get pre-placement offer. So essentially, almost around 3,000 plus students who are seeking placement every year, almost 40% they get placed even before the placement session starts. And that's because we are having a rigorous industrial engagement. Apart from that, in terms of research and innovation, there's a huge landscape which we have created over the last several years. Just to tell you that currently we are implementing around 600 plus extramural projects funded by the external agency, which worth around 400 crore rupees. To tell you, for the US, people are $50 million worth of project, which we are implementing right now. And we are also having a good bench strength. And the other thing is that we are creating internal centers of excellence. And those centers of excellence are not just for the sake of creating a center one fine day, but they are supported by at least $1 million or 8 to 9 crore rupees of support. So just to name a few, the first in this league is the Artificial Intelligence Research Center of Excellence. And the second one is the Center for Research Excellence Semiconductor Devices. And the third one, which was launched just early this month, Center for Research Excellence in National Security. And they all are supported by, as I told you, 8 to 10 crore rupees actually. And the idea is that to invest internal competencies and capacity to bloom that center, so that we can work with some of the burning problems of the society, public funded institutions, industry, and of course the bottom of the pyramid. So these are the few major points which certainly come to my mind without preparing any predefined speech or predefined script. Of course, there are many more things which are going on, and I'll be happy to answer those things to you.
I'm sure the best way to talk is it should be impromptu, and that is why we also thought you'll be very happy to know something that I'm going to share next. My nephew, son of my sister, he passed out from BITS Pilani
I see.
in electronics, and he is one of the most successful entrepreneurs today. His name is Rishabh Shekhar, and
Oh,
he's
I see.
running
I see.
paper content.
I see.
So he
Nice.
and the Singla, these two boys, so truly I have personal experience of how you are uh, strengthening the entrepreneurial acumen of the next gen. Wonderful. Congratulations for that. Now, there was a time, Dr. Goel, when we were growing up, higher education meant going abroad, seeking that foreign degree. And there was nothing wrong in it. But today I find that there are various world-class institutions like yours, and the world is coming to us. What's your thought? How are we competing? How is BITS competing, globally?
See, there are, I think, two-pronged strategy which I can tell you today. First thing, we have to accept that there is always an attraction towards overseas, towards seven ocean apart in the society at large, the society which we live in our country. So, number one, how do we create the best possible ambience, educational, academic ambience in the system itself? Right. So as we know that BITS has 5 campuses. The first one, of course, Pilani, and then Dubai 2004 Goa, 2008 Hyderabad, and recently Mumbai campus has started. Primarily Mumbai campus, we have management, design and law, these non-engineering, non-science streams which we are running. So one thing is that how we can create the academic environment, and the second thing, flexibility. I think a combination of both is something which is extremely important. In BITS Pilani, both things are existing. Just to give you one or two examples, just to sort of manifest my point. In terms of flexibility, we don't say that attendance is not compulsory, but we say that attendance does not have any contingent requirement to sit an exam, right? So the thing is that which gives a huge flexibility, or I would say that domain-specific knowledge to students, that they can choose what they want to attend. They can choose whether they want to go to extracurricular. When I say extracurricular, which also includes the many courses, many different kinds of streams they can take, and so on. So that is one flexibility that in terms of attending classes. Number two, the flexibility comes from attending huge amount of open elective, discipline elective, humanities, to the extent they can take course like Gita, Madhavad Gita actually. So the point here is that depending on the interest, they can choose any number of courses from pharmacy to computer science to mechanical or any other engineering branch. Now it comes to the ambience, the environment, academic environment and freedom. So academic environment is, if anybody comes to BITS Pilani, one of the first impression or the first comment which I say, campus is super clean. That is the first comment I get when somebody calls me from the gate. If there's a visitor, and visitor is calling me to get into our campus. So that speaks the volume that the campus is clean, hygienic, and everybody is sort of talking to each other. Everybody is helping each other. So these are the 2 points, amalgamation of these 2 points. I would say the ambience plus flexibility gives the first round of environment for a person to choose India, that too BITS Pilani. Now, the second thing is that we have also created many collaboration with many international institutions. So those collaboration, believe me, is not just MOU signing one fine day. We are implementing them on ground. I'll give you 3 examples. We have dual degree programs with one university in Australia, RMIT. The second one in Iowa State in US, and third one is the university at Buffalo. So the idea is that we have 2 years plus 2 years. 2 years they stay here, 2 years they stay there, and then they get joint degree with both the institutions. The reason I'm mentioning these 2 examples is that those who still would like to have the taste and flavor of the overseas campuses, they can do that. And they can stay in BITS Pilani, they can stay in one of these 3 institutions. And likewise, I just mentioned about undergraduate studies, but we have a lot of collaboration with joint PhDs, joint research, and joint centers of excellence. Recently, we started a joint CO in semiconductor with Buffalo. So the point here is that we have 2-pronged strategy. How do we make our campuses efficient and optimized? Number 2, how we can give a flavor to the students who would like to have a ambience of the overseas while being a part of the BITS Pilani system.
My colleague Pragya has some questions.
In the last 15 years or so, we have made substantial progress with emergence of many high-end institutions, including yours, providing quality education to students and everything. In this background, how do you view the status of higher education in India today?
I think there is no doubt that over the last couple of decades, since liberalization, I would say, the higher education has increased many folds, not only in terms of imparting knowledge, imparting research, innovation, entrepreneurship, but also the expectation from people at large. Because, unless there is an expectation, you may not be able to provide the environment to fulfill those expectations. So people have seen the world. People are sort of exposing themselves to the entire global scenario. And then likewise, the expectations are there to us, in front of us, to conquer us, to challenge us, how we can sort of fulfill those expectations. And which is something which is extremely important, that we have a benchmark in front of us and to fulfill those benchmark. So the point I wanted to make here is that the higher education is not grown on its own. It has sort of trying to be as par with the global standard, because there is a challenge, there is an expectation, and there is a huge amount of gold standard in front of us. Um, Having said that, everything is certainly not positive and hunky-dory, but a lot more has to be done. I believe that a couple of things which still needs to be done is to develop the self-discipline and professionalism in all these students down the road. I mean, I have studied many number of years overseas, so I will not really sort of give that example, because we are not comparing apples to apples when we just give an example of overseas institutions. But some of the things which we can try to learn and adopt very easily are that self-discipline. I mean, still in higher education system, many of these students are completely dependent on their parents, which we should try to minimize, if not completely eradicate. Which means that they can take their own decisions. They can earn also while studying into the universities, and also trying to choose their own path, what they would like to study in the near future. That's number one. That is from the side of the students and parents. And from the university side, I believe that a lot of focus has to be on the hands-on training, hands-on acumen, which needs to be provided to all the students, which is changing. I can see in BITS Pilani, just to give an example, that majority of the labs, they have only 2 students per bench, which means that a lot of time and a lot of liberty is given to students to try some of the hands-on trainings, hands-on electronics, circuitry, and so on. And also, you can imagine that students end up going to clean room, semiconductor fabrication lab, and they learn so many things. So the point here is that the classroom knowledge is important, but at the same time, every course, every classroom knowledge acumen should be imbibed with the experimental and hands-on knowledge, which is happening, but I think it should happen throughout round the clock. And maybe 2.5, the third thing, or the second half of the second point, is that the industrial internship. I mentioned that BITS Pilani has started a practice school, which should be not for the sake of sort of taking them to industry and showing them what's going on, but it should be a real life experience to create the deployable engineers, not just employable engineers.
Great. So in this background, what are some of the key future goals you have set for your institutions?
Very, very good question, actually. I think, see, the nature of BITS Pilani is certainly different. We are a self-financed, autonomous university. Of course, we are Institute of Eminence. But one thing which is completely unique for BITS Pilani is that we have to run our show. We have to run our own finances on our own, right? We have to generate, raise it, and so on. So the 90% of the income, more than 90% of the income, is coming directly from the student fees we have right now, which means that you can imagine that how much we can sort of depend on the revenue which we generate from students, and which means that our fees is extremely high, compared to the public funded institutions. I think one of the things which our vice chancellor has started recently is to create a big endowment fund. We are targeting to create $100 million endowment fund over the last for the next 3 years. And we have already got some success. We could already generate 15 to 20% of it. And we hope that in the next 2 years, we could generate it. And the idea is that to support needy students, to support some of the students which are meritorious students, but they cannot get into BITS Pilani because of these obvious reasons. And the second aspect which this endowment fund will help is to increase the number of female students. Currently, in undergraduate level, we have around 20% female, only 20% female. But PhD, we have around 43% female, just to give you a number. So basically, this endowment fund will help to grow our meritorious students, number one. Number two, to increase the female students. And of course, a lot of work which will happen in research and innovation domain, where our internal financial support is also always helpful. So that's number one, which we are trying to do, is to create endowment fund, and those endowment fund will primarily come from alumni support. The second thing is that use internal capacity development, bench strength development for new centers of excellence. As I told you that in the beginning, that we have 3-4 very dedicated, focused centers of excellence, which are aligned with the Government of India needs. And everything is coming with support, financial support, not just we are starting one fine day. So we are adding more centers of excellence, like Center of Excellence in Energy, hydrogen, green hydrogen particularly, Center of Excellence in Energy Storage, and so on, biomedical devices, biomanufacturing. So those are the two major domain which comes to my mind right away, that how we can further enhance our academic rigor. And number two, how we can enhance our research, innovation, and entrepreneurship landscape.
Okay, great, sir. So, how is your institution leveraging technology, this age of new technology coming up every day, to create a cutting-edge learning environment for students?
And there are multiple things going on. I think technology is there in our blood, in our DNA. Because I all started that a lot of entrepreneurs BITS has developed, and a lot of unicorns are there. So I mean, I can give many examples where technology is a part of it. Uh, I mean, everywhere, we have ERP system which is completely inbuilt, be it from admission to the entire life cycle of students. When you talk about the funded projects, the moment the projects comes to BITS Pilani, we put it on ERP. So all the expenses, we can see it real time, what's happening, how much balance is there, what is the salary structure which has gone into it. So entire system is completely cloud dependent. When we talk about my own division, research and innovation, we have a proper data repository, data analysis system. For example, if there is a new call for proposal, I'm going little micro example. So we can quickly find out that how we can do matchmaking within our institute. For example, there is a new call for proposal for artificial intelligence for social enhancement, or artificial intelligence semiconductor. So within a matter of week, we can find out that who can be the right faculty member whom we can approach to develop the proposal, because we have a very nice ML AI based algorithm and so on. Website is completely updated with the current findings and current projects and patents, publications. Right now, we have a kitty of around 400 plus patents. We are filing around 125 to 150 patents every year. And we have a dedicated tech transfer office, which helps to take the patents to the next level, either commercialization, joint development, licensing, and so on. So everything is completely online. And as I said, that within fraction of a second, we can find out what is the status of a given technology and how we can sort of leverage the current scenario to work with the external entities. Some of the examples I just thought to share with you.
Nice. Over to you, Dr. Navneet.
Lost my ask him to start.
Any other question?
Just a minute. Divyansh, is there any technical glitch?
Oh. So I think next time you seek help of AI, Divyansh, when something is stopping me from my video appearing. All right. Great. Amazing insights, Dr. Goel. Now, I'm a social scientist. I'm trained in sociology. You're trained in electronics. And here is a social scientist asking a question from a scientist. All of us are massively, immensely in awe of AI. And it has transformed lives. It is exposing us to new facilities, amazing ease of doing work, and so on and so forth. Now, in many fields like we are in the business of communications where a lot of research, writing, exploration, thinking is involved. Now, I am always, intrigued by the speed with which AI works and its amazing power. But I wonder at the same time if it is going to perhaps rust my mind, stop me from applying myself too much. There are many youngsters who work with us now. Suddenly, their English has improved quite drastically, and they are displaying amazing, finesse at producing English content. It is all coming from where. Now, so there is this conflict of some traditional ideas. So we have been taught that unless the more you sweat, the more you shine, the more you practice, the more adept you become. If you want to become a journalist, you cannot be asking AI to be writing your news report. It is good in some areas. What's your personal thought on how AI is perhaps disrupting or enabling human thought processes, mechanizing a bit too much? I don't know. Maybe I'm being skeptical. I want to review my thoughts. Maybe when I learn from a scientist, I'll be able to understand better.
Yeah, I mean, this question is all around in any discussion, any such kind of dialogue. Always AI question will always be there. And again, I will not use AI to answer the question related to AI. So interesting to say that you mentioned you are a social scientist. I'm a scientist. So basically, I'm a subset of what you do. Right. So the point about AI, there were admissions in bits last week of July and first week of August, and of course, every year there are some friends whose friends or some relatives, their relatives will come, and they will come and मेरे बच्चे को ये मिल रहा है ये नहीं मिल रहा है. And then of course, as a country, everybody wants their kids to, or most of the people want their kid to get the computer science. तो कब मिलेगा, vertical jump होगा, all those questions, and we get these questions every time. Tens of people ask this question. So I have a very simple analogy, that I say that nobody has seen the future, and I always say them that you are joining in 2024, so your your son or daughter is looking for the job in 2028, not tomorrow, right? So my point is that try not to look for the job scenario, what is there today and tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I mean, what will happen 4 years later? So then there's the next question, obvious question. I know the answer to this question because that's why I sort of intrigued them to ask this question to me. So they said that they have not seen the future. I said, okay, you have not seen the future, but you have seen the past. So if not seen the future, please see what was there in 2020. And then based on that, you can probably make a very scientific and very technological guess that what will happen in 2028. So AI, we know what was the status of AI in 2020. We were in the midst of COVID 4 years ago. So and they understand. I don't need to say anything beyond that, and they understand because most of the parents are in this era very well educated, and they understand what I'm talking about. So anyway, this is just an example or a recent experience which I have faced. So again, coming back to your main question, I think whether AI is there or AI is not there, it is a level playing field for everybody. Right? I hope you agree with me. So everybody has the level playing field. Everybody has the same rules of the game, right? So now, based on the scenario that rules of the game are same, so you have to sort of plan your day, plan your week and month in the same manner, right? So I would say that AI is certainly there to help. I mean, I also use Chat GPT. I think everybody uses it actually. The point here is that are we using it for the betterment of my own works of life, whatever we do since dawn to dusk, or I'm trying to be dependent on it, actually. I think we should use it as a tool, as a language, or as a friend to all of us, not just completely dependent on it. So I feel that AI will also become like a internet. If you see that when you and me, we were in Delhi University, we go to library, we were given 6 cards. We'll give the card to the librarian and we get the books, right? Now, at the era of internet, everything is online. We have RFIDs, we have barcoding system and so on. Does it mean that our efficiency has gone down? I think our efficiency has gone up. I think in my view, when AI will be saturated, I believe that it is already in the mode of saturation. It will become like a vertical, which will have horizontal contact with each and every part of the world, like internet, whether a social scientist, political scientist, engineer, scientist, everybody uses internet. You don't need to know the nitty gritty of internet, the protocol, IEEE protocols. You don't need to know all those things. As a user, anybody can use it. So likewise, in my opinion, AI will also become and the same way as internet, which we see 5 years, since 5 to 10 years ago. That's what I feel.
Excellent, amazing, very nicely put. And I'm going to use this reference at many places. Now, a related question. You reminded me of my Hindu college library and those wonderful 6 cards we would cherish, and the most prized possession, one of the most prized possession that we have. What, in your view, Dr. Goel, is the status of research in India? You have yourself been an accomplished researcher, like I said, 35 patents, 350 plus publications. We are at a time where there is a lot of emphasis on, so there is a new aspirational India that has come about in recent past, where I find the youth majority chasing dreams. I don't want to sound like a value judgment, but may seem non-academic, So they want to get into a job, they want to do well, which is very good, which is good for us as a society. In terms of the pursuit of excellence, academic excellence, research, I went to an institution where there was a lot of emphasis on research. I'm not sure what is happening today. But what is your view? Because you are deep into academics, I'm not so much. How are we faring as a country when it comes to high quality research? Some of the data I read, I don't remember. I don't see many of us doing very well in terms of, let's say, the number of PhDs, MPhils, peer publications, so on and so forth. And how do you think an institution, world-class institution like yours, is focusing on this aspect of academic excellence?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of research, I think I would say that India is sitting on the 3rd place in terms of the peer review publications coming out every year, after China and US, of course. But the unfortunate part or sad part of is that the gap is huge. When we talk about China and then US and then India, we are on the 3rd place, but there is a huge gap. So, but I think on a positive side, I mean, again, I will give the same example as I given in the answer to the previous question. I think we should see our growth story. I think if you just see only what is happening today and start benchmarking with the peer countries or our leading nations in the world, I think sometimes it may be a little pessimistic. But I'm a firm believer that you should not just see what is there today, but what is happening over the last couple of decades, 10 years, 12 years down the road. I think there's a huge growth which is happening. I mean, if you see that, because I'm also one of the distinguished lecturer of IEEE Council, but so that's why I keep visiting many colleges. If I and those colleges are Tier B, Tier C colleges also. And in fact, one of the mandate of this particular award which I have is to go to more to Tier C or Tier 3 colleges rather than going to Tier 1 colleges. So I visit many colleges. One thing which I have seen is that there is a huge passion, there is a huge interest from the youngsters actually. I mean, I remember, I mean, of course, I'm sure you can also correlate with my thoughts. Of course, again, we are talking about 30 years ago, 3 decades ago. I mean, at least me and many of my colleagues, we didn't have even courage to ask questions to a visitor, who will come to our college. Majority of us will not do that. There is an instinct which was missing, and if I look back, I feel that if somebody would have sort of shattered our that shy or discourageous instinct, we would have been a better human being, I believe. We could have started our extrovert acumen much early stage. But having said that, I'm not criticizing the entire generation. That's how we have grown, actually. The one thing which I have seen is that even the students from tier 3 or tier C colleges, they ask questions. They have a lot of interest, a lot of ideas to share. And then I have seen that when I finish my talk, there are like 10 people who are surrounding me. And it's not just me. I have also discussed with many of my colleagues, same story. So one thing which I am very, very positive about is that the new generation or the current generation which is coming up, they are quite inquisitive. They have a lot of curiosity. They want to do something. Hmm? They want to do something, and they want to really add value to this world. Something which we should change or we should somehow provide, as I told in the answer to my previous question, is the hands-on skill. For example, currently we are talking about semiconductors. No? Everybody is talking semiconductor. But how many people have seen the silicon chip? Right. So what I do, just an example, I'm not bragging about myself. I always take those silicon chips, some of the devices which we make in our lab, sensors, to my talks, actually. So people, when they see the circular 2-inch diameter silicon chip, they can connect themselves that, hey, whatever their teacher is talking to them in the class about semiconductor, they can connect it. I feel that it is a responsibility not just for the government, for all of us, including social scientists, that I think we should give back to the society. I always say to my own peers and my own next generation people, many people would have helped you and me when we were growing in our career over the last 30, 40 years, whatever. And many of them are not even alive. They have died, actually, right? So whosoever have helped us, we cannot give it back to them. The only thing we can do that is that we can give back to the next generation. So I am extremely positive about our country and whatever is happening over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm sure this trend will only grow in an exponential manner.
Excellent. Tell us something about yourself, Dr. Goel. We read about your impressive profile, but where is Dr. Goel headed in terms of pursuing further academics, writing more papers, doing more research, setting up more startups, mentoring more startups?
See, I think right now our lab has 3 startups, and I'm very proud of them. They are all funded by different entities. So one of the major challenge, or I would say goal, we have put aside for ourselves to create some of the prototypes. In science, we call it technology readiness level 1 to 9, actually. Currently, most of our devices are 3 to 4, I would say, which is ready to be tested in the lab and to be tested in the clinical fields. So our aim is that to create industry ready prototypes over the next 2 years, actually. And that is number one. Number two, the PhD scholars which we have, every PhD scholar for the last 5 years, since we have started our lab in a bigger manner, of course, lab is there for last 9 years, that every scholar has at least 2 or 3 patents. Publications, there will be many, many, which I cannot really count. But my point here is that I think it is our duty and it is our responsibility to not just do the fundamental research and publish papers, but also to create the entrepreneurial acumen, to create some of the devices which can directly go back to the society.
Excellent. I was just also reading about your postdoc at Stanford University. So exactly in terms of your specialization.
Yeah, actually, I worked in an area microelectronics, I would say, like semiconductor devices, making small chips and devices which can be used for sensing applications, some of the energy harvesting application, energy storage applications. So, and at Stanford, I worked on developing a miniaturized DNA sequencer. I'm sure that from COVID, all of us know about PCR, DNA amplification device. So the DNA amplification means that to create multiple copies of DNA, which can be detected. DNA sequencing means how our base pairs, a human being has 3 billion base pairs. So how they are sort of sequenced, how they are aligning with each other. Once we know that, we can try to find out remedies of many of the medical, biomedical, healthcare related problems. So I created our team created a small device which can be handheld, and you just add the extracted DNA. It can tell me the sequencing. So that's the project where I worked, sponsored by the National Institute of Health that time. And I was lucky enough to work one of the best places where I could see Nobel laureates walking around, talking to each other, and so on. It was a different level of experience, which I can always treasure in my life.
Excellent. So, on a closing note, I think we are fast moving towards 6G, and semiconductor is going to be very critical. And Government of India, Prime Minister Modi himself has said multiple times that we need to create India as a hub of, So, what is your view in terms of from 5G to 6G, role of semiconductor, not only in in multiple spheres of what we do?
Yeah, I mean, they 6G semiconductor, I would say that they need each other. They're like, if not a real brother, but at least the cousins, actually. So essentially, I mean, it's extremely important. It should have been done at least 20 years ago, the semiconductor capability development in our country. But as we all know, better late than never. So I think it is important that India should become the hub to develop the in-house capabilities to develop those semiconductor devices. Of course, in the beginning, as we know that 3 manufacturing plants have been announced, 2 in Gujarat, 1 in Assam. So one of the things which I believe will happen is the packaging and manufacturing, those kind of things. And then slowly we'll start developing silicon-based devices and chips in our country. A lot of things are happening because I myself work in this area, and fortunately my administrative interest is also research, innovation is also in this domain. So I feel that in the next 3 to 4 years, and we work very closely with some of the leading industries in semiconductor domain. So we believe that in next 3 years, India will start having its own manufacturing plant. And I believe that having such kind of in-house capability will make India self-reliant to develop those processors, those devices, communication devices, and also integration of it. When we talk about integration, we talk Internet of Things, we talk about cyber physical system. So it is extremely important. I'm sure that in 5 years, if we get an opportunity to meet again, we'll talk about some of the challenges associated with the manufacturing and packaging, rather than what is packaging and how do we go to that level.
No, sure. That gives me an idea to organize a roundtable. We'll come back to you soon. Now, one word of compliment for my team who has been doing this about BI and BI lead. What's your thought?
I mean, amazing stuff. I love talking to you and your team, actually. Since the point which we have, when we have started having the idea to do this session, I think I have a very good experience to work with you, to talk to you directly. And one of the best thing I like about is that to make it completely impromptu, so that things are coming from the heart, bottom of the heart, and we can discuss what is happening in the contemporary world and contemporary nation, and talk about some of the burning topics, especially in the higher education sector, research, innovation. And the idea is that to brainstorm and to see how we can, share our thoughts and views to the next level, to the policymakers probably, and to the some of the public funded and private academic institutions.
No, thank you so much, because we are just trying to be contributing to knowledge creation, and all of these are going to be parked in the public domain. And leaders, your thoughts, your institutions, we shall also be using you as a conduit to reach more leaders, and we shall formally place through you a request to Honorable Vice Chancellor also to come and join us for an interview. Thank you so much, Dr. Goel, for joining us. It really means a lot. You have been very kind and generous, and we shall continue to write and highlight great things that BITS does and you do. Thank you very much from the entire team of Bureaucrats India. Lead series. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for giving this opportunity. Very nice to talk to all of you. Thank you. Can I leave now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.